Okay. For this video, I wanted to focus on what I felt was one of the hardest parts about doing music full time, which was time management. In the last video, we talked a little bit about like loneliness and stuff like that, but time management and figuring out what to do with your time is something that haunted me throughout the process. And so I just kind of wanted to like talk about my own struggles with that and maybe like some ways if I could go back how I could like buffer those struggles. So let's get into it. Whenever somebody decides to run their own business, you run into the fact that you could be working all the time. And this is different from a 9-to-5 because a 9-to-5, hopefully you feel like you can clock out. This has changed with like Slack and stuff like that. But when you start running your business full time, now you can theoretically be working all the time. But here's the biggest difference between music and maybe like a regular brick and mortar, and even between other creative industries, is that your success, especially financially, is so vaguely associated with your day-to-day activities that it can be really confusing and hard to pinpoint where you should be putting your time. And this is, I think, specifically a problem when trying to make money from music. So for example, if you're at a pizza place and you're trying to work out your hours, for example, and you're like out in like a bar district, you know what I mean? Maybe you don't open until lunchtime and maybe you stay open till like 2 a.m. because that's when the bars close or something like that, and you get that last rush of the bar. So you know that like exactly when you do this amount of hours, there's probably like a range of pizza that you're going to sell. And you can kind of figure out your margins by your materials, yada, yada. With music, you spend 30 minutes on a song and it blows up. Or maybe you spend 3 years on an album and it flops. And both of those things could happen for a million different reasons. Cultural timing, quality of the song, quality of the lyrics, what you were going through, what you weren't going through. And I mean, I guess you can kind of choose how that makes you feel. Because by the one hand, you could say, well, it doesn't really matter what I do every day. I'm just going to do what feels good. Or you can panic. And this is what happened to me. I found it impossible to feel good about a week. So these are basically my two options. Was I would work insane hours, like just grind all week, not really see people, not really take a whole lot of good breaks. And then I'd get to the end of the week and feel sad because I hadn't taken any good breaks. I hadn't really played. I hadn't seen my friends. And it's so crazy because I'm talking about like making music, which is inherently a form of play in my mind. It can be very serious, but there's always an element in like music that pushes where there's an element of play where you're playing with something. And I just, it was insane because it wouldn't feel like that. I would come out of the studio or something like that, be like, boom, like shift done, like okay. Or I'd get to the end of the week feeling sad and guilty because I hadn't done enough work. So either way, I was kind of feeling bad. And so the next question is this inherent to doing music full time? Like, is this always going to be the case? And I think no. The first note I want to take on this is that I think something I've noticed is that my homies who make reels, who grind reels and TikTok and stuff, but I think specifically reels, seem to feel a little bit less lost in terms of where they put their time because, you know, you spend 2 hours making a couple reels and then you post the reels and then you immediately see like likes and followers come in. It's like pretty direct. Even if the reel flops, normally like that gives you like some stuff. But I've never really understood short form. I've been very averse to making short form in the past. Especially just generally advertising my music has always felt strange. And I think that might be because I don't really feel like it's important for people to listen to my music. Like I've been lucky enough to get like messages about people like, hey, like, yo, your music changed my life, or your music made me feel better during these dark times. Like, that's a fucking wonderful thing. But for some reason, it doesn't like connect to my brain. So like me advertising my music doesn't translate like, yo, this is going to be good for people. Like when people hear this song, they're going to feel better, or like somebody's going to relate to this and this is going to be great. It's never really felt like that. It's just like, yo, look at me. And I don't think either of those are wrong or right. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think I personally believe that there is inherent value in art, in music, and like people seeing that. But I also find it difficult to tell myself that mine is inherently better than somebody else's. Whereas if I'm making pizza and I know that pizza fucks because I like it, I'm be like, yo, stop by the pizza place. Maybe. Actually, I don't actually know how good I would feel about advertising even that. Damn, bro, we're exposing some shit. This is what I'm saying. We're trying to work this out. We're trying to work this out as we go. And the other question I had was like, during all this process of like, for example, like world building and stuff like that, I really like building sort of worlds around my stuff. If you saw the needles roll out, you know this. If that had done really well, I wonder if I would feel better about like diving so deep. Like if that blew up and I was suddenly like very profitable, I wonder if that wouldn't feel like that. And I don't even know if it's healthy to think like that, dude. The second reason why I don't think this is inherent to like making music full time is you can just choose to be kinder to yourself. I have written down. I don't know how feasible this is as like a mindset change. I don't know if this is like telling a depressed person to not be sad. But specifically, I want to shout out to a bunch of the women artists in my life because it's been super inspiring, actually. This is a huge generalization. But something I've noticed is I feel like the women in my life generally, but like especially the artists, do a much better job of separating their value of themselves and like their value of their life from the success of their like career. Or at least the women in my life, specifically the women artists in my life, seem to be much better at taking breaks than the men in my life. This is a big generalization. This isn't true for everybody, but I noticed that they'd be much quicker to like go on trips or just like note that they're stressed out and like, yeah, take a break or like suntan on the roof or like go to the park or just like play Valorant all morning and like feel good about that. Whereas the men, myself included, seem to reek of shame and guilt anytime we try and do anything fun when we feel like we should be working. And if you're in something like music and you're in your own boss, it's really easy to feel like you should be working all the time. Again, I want to say this is a generalization. There's some men in my life who are good at taking breaks. There's some women in my life who could be kinder to themselves. But generally, what I was finding was that the girls in my life would be way better at taking time for themselves, taking breaks, going on vacation, enjoying video games, whereas myself and my boys would feel guilty and ashamed for like not working if we were spent all day doing something like that, to the point where it leads to this crazy cycle about us talking about how much we've been working and how hard it's been, and then also being so unproductive because we haven't taken fulfilling breaks. So like, for example, I just like haven't had a conversation with a woman maybe ever that went like, oh yeah, I've just been like grinding, bro. Like I've heard like, oh, it's been so hard at work, or like the label's fucking me or something like that. But it's never been like, yeah, dude, I've just been like locked in the studio every day. Like the amount of conversations I have with my male friends, I do not remember the last time I had a conversation with one of my girl homies that revolved around them being like, yeah, I've just been like locked in the studio all day. It's always just like, yeah, like I saw my friends at lunch today, like I'm thinking about going to the spa later. I'll have to ask them, like, how's the music going? And they'll be like, oh, like I did like 5 sessions this week. I'm like, bro, what the fuck? Like it's like that, it never even comes up. Whereas like me and my boys will like wake up in the morning and be like, yo, I can't do shit today, bro, because I gotta like edit type shit, proceed to play video games until 3 p.m, talk about how we need to lock in some more, and then like get stuck into a YouTube hole, finally start editing at 9, finish at 1, and then, oh, bro, yeah, I just like spent all night editing, bro, like, you know, fucking I really be grinding for this shit. And it's like, bro, that is, first of all, 9 to 1 is just like a calm 4 hours of editing. And I think the worst part about that is that we could have spent all day doing something lovely, feeling good about it, or even just playing video games until 3 p.m., feeling good about it, and then entering that. I haven't really fallen in. I've been a lot better with that since college, this sort of like losing a day, because I noticed that if I would just kind of find like where my most productive pockets were, like, you know, if I was somebody who was like a lot more productive at 9, I would like just work there. I've been like a lot better with that, but I still just even when I found those productive pockets, like my productive pockets are like about like 10:30 to 2 and then like 5 to 9. So I could normally get like a cool 6 hours of work in, but like, dude, it was still so difficult to like feel like I'd done something even in that. But that feeling of never being enough or never doing enough is so prevalent. And like the shame will still prevent me from taking good breaks, which then inherently prevents a recharge, which then prevents me from working well, ironically. So what I'm trying to say is I think there is a way that you can grind music in a healthy way. I have a feeling that having your survival detached from your creative output helps a lot. So either having a job that pays the bills, or maybe being successful enough at music that each day in the studio or like each reel that you post isn't make or break. Like you have enough buffer where like, you know, you're going to get through the month type of thing. Or you know, you're going to get through the year. It's probably like more realistic. I'm actually not sure though, because I don't think I've ever like been at that place where I'm like, yeah, I know I'm good for the next like year or two. I wonder if it's just a mindset thing, because I look at something like, so something that freaked me out a lot was actually listening to Charli XCX's Brat album. It's like one of my favorite albums ever. Specifically, there's this song, Rewind, where she like talks about like how complicated life's gotten and how she like wishes she could go back and like do all this stuff. And it's kind of fun and like quirky and feels kind of sarcastic. But then there's stuff like, I used to never think, she's got this lyric, I used to never think about Billboard, but now I've started thinking again about whether or not I deserve commercial success. And I'm like, dude, this is like one of the pop icons of the past 10 years. Like even before Brat, she had like a ton of hits and did This Is How I'm Doing, This Is How I'm Feeling Now. Is that what the album, what is it called? How I'm Feeling Now. Yeah, oh my God, bro. Like Charli XCX had so many hits already at that point. This is coming off the back of How I'm Feeling Now and like, I guess a bunch of legacy hits, to be fair, like back from like 2015, 2017. And she's like, do I deserve commercial success? I would love to hear how she's feeling now about it. Like, I wonder if she feels like she deserves commercial success now, because Brat was such like a cultural staple. It's crazy because like elsewhere on that album, she does like talk about feeling like the GOAT. And dude, that's the other part about, bro, I feel like you see this all the time in music as well. I think this is probably any art, but in music especially, you'll be in the studio and you'll just be like, yo, like I'm actually like the best there is ever was at music right now. Like this is amazing. And then you'll listen to the same thing like an hour later and be like, yo, I don't know who allowed me to download Logic. Like, this is just terrible. And it's like so strange. So I think having that process detached from your financial stability or just like survival generally is really helpful, because it's already so wishy-washy. At least for me. I just like want to be so clear that this is just for me. I know not everybody feels like this. And then there's also this Charli song that really impacted me as well, called I Think About It All the Time. And I think this really got to the heart of why I felt like I wanted to spend time doing other things, where she said, my career feels so small in the existential scheme of it all. Again, just like monster pop hits, you know, like just in every dope scene that you could imagine. And this was her talking about whether or not she wanted to have a kid. And dude, I can't help but feel the same, low key. Like, and like career generally too, like music for sure, but also just like the way you make your money, like whether it's a 9 to 5, like I know a lot of people feel like their 9 to 5 is all consuming as well. I don't know. I'm just starting to think like, I just feel like a balanced life is a beautiful one. I was making a joke the other night to my homie, like, there is more to life than just your artistic success. And I was like, damn, no, I actually really believe that. And I've seen a lot of YouTube videos as well. Like, you know, there's that one video of like the ex-brain surgeon in the mountains that was like, I was like a Harvard graduate brain surgeon and now I'm like unemployed. Where it's like, there is more to life than just your career. And I actually think this goes further than just music and like a symptom of just like doing music as a job, and more just like the general vibe in terms of career right now, where it's just like, your value is tied to your work. I think especially like the boys are probably gonna feel that, like historically, you know what I mean? Like breadwinning, bringing home the bacon, whatever the fuck. But I think I'm sure this plagues everyone now, where your value is really tied to your work and how much you make. I don't really, it feels like with music, if you're not rolling in it, or even other careers, if you're not rolling in it, it's just kind of gnarly. There's a protest song that talks about, the title is I Don't Want Your Millions, Mister. I think it's like from the 40s or something. He says, I don't want your millions, mister, I just want the right to live. And dude, I feel like we've really lost that vibe. He's like, I don't want your diamond ring, I don't want your Rolls Royce, I just want to like feed my kids. I really feel that. Like, I don't really feel the need to like blow up crazy and like be going on all these fuck ass tours or like be balling super hard. I just want like to feel like I'm good. I just want to feel like I'm good. But this is the thing, I actually get it. I actually get why people feel like they need to blow up. And not to fucking get into it, but like in a place where your health insurance is tied to your job, ambulances cost $3,000 and there's no parental leave, you kind of feel like you gotta be rolling in it to make ends meet, to like do just normal shit, to like be calm. You have to be balling. And I think that's fucked up. Like, dude, I don't know, bro. Like, dude, how are you gonna tell a teacher to get a second job? How are you gonna tell a nurse to be more entrepreneurial? Like, I got homies who's I dated a girl in Australia whose mom used to pull fucking double shifts as a nurse. And it's like, what, dude? A nurse like has to do double shifts? Like, and this is not uncommon, I think. This is not uncommon. I heard another thing. Dude, this shit is crazy, bro. This shit is crazy, bro. On Dave Ramsey, this woman was in insane amounts of debt. I think it was like something like $800,000 in debt. She crawled out of it in 3 years. She was a nurse. She worked 3 nursing jobs. So she worked at 2 hospitals full time and also did like travel nurse stuff or something like that. And dude, and it was so crazy because it was like the game show version of the Dames Ramsey thing. Dude, this shit makes me so sad, bro. Because like, obviously everybody's like cheering. Everybody's cheering in the audience. Dave and like the family are like clapping and cheering or whatever. Because it's like, of course, also like, oh my God, like you did it, bro. Like that's like impossible and you did that. Like that's amazing. She was like 31. She'd been doing it for like 3 years. And she was like, I just like didn't sleep. It was like I was getting like 4 hours a night of sleep or something like that, like no weekends. And you know, obviously everybody's applauding. But it blew my mind. I don't know, it blows my mind that nobody was sitting there like, wait, hold on, like, I don't know if this is a good thing that we have to do this. And I am not, bro, like straight up, I think it was like student loans and like a couple cars and a credit card or some shit that did that. And it's like, dude, so much of that is just built into daily life. Like student loans, built in. Car debt, built in America, built in. Unless you're rolling in it, dude. Like, obviously, you can, like, always buy used and, like, all that type of stuff. But, like, it's just so like, this is the thing, bro. Like, I'm always going to be so slow to blame the consumer. Because if you don't live in America, dude, we get, like, if your credit score is decent, or maybe even if it's not decent, you get in the mail credit card offers all the time. People, they just send you pre-approved credit card offers all the time. You tell me that's not predatory, bro. You get car loans shoved down your face all the time. They're talking about like all these like terms that like you kind of don't understand. It's just like what people do because it's such a car dependent society and it just plagues the population. And then we have the gall to like blame individuals for getting into debt to the point where you have to take on 3 full-time jobs to claw out of it. I don't know. Obviously, like, financial literacy is a thing. Like, I don't want to discount that, but, like, something's got to change, man. Something's got to change. So, anyway. My career feels so small in the existential scheme of it all. You know, there's more to life. There's more to life than your career success. And I just think some of my homies have that a little bit, understand that a little bit better than others. And I think specifically if I were to look into a place for inspiration, it would be look at the girls in your life. Look at the girls around you. They know what they're doing. Self-care wise. I think they just know how to do self-care so much better. And boys, bro, we got this, dude. Hug your homies. Go play some pool. Go have a beer. You know what I mean? Go run around in the park. Fucking, God forbid, tussle. You know what I'm saying? And enjoy that. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know why. I don't know why. I guess I'm like, yeah, I'm a little worried. I'm a little worried about the boys, man. Sometimes I don't feel like that. Sometimes I would like to see like more kindness and more love between us. And like towards ourselves. You know what I mean? Anyway, that was a little video about time management and why it can be so hard when you're doing a full-time job as a musician. I think there's ways around it. I don't think it has to be that way. But I think how you feel about it is very associated with if it's connected to your survival or not. Let me know how you feel about that. I'm still trying to work this out as well. I would love to hear what you think. So yeah, that's it. I'm Bryce, and thank you for being part of my life.
When I'm moving circles, I can count all of my tennies up. Look from left to right, I hear them crack, I don't know what is up. Probably all the tension from this job that I'm supposed to love. Why you doing this if you don't like it? Cause that's fucking crazy.
Oh, I did way worse a job of writing this script. Last time I did like an outline thing, and this time I just fucking brain dumped. So this is gonna be... we'll see how this goes.